And everyone, Jai Sri Krishna. Let's start a discussion on very important topic, and every IT organization have the ETL process, and most of the interview questions they will definitely ask what is the ETL and what is the ETL process, how the ETL will work, what are the components of ETL. So I'll give you the detailed description and answer of all these questions, and you are able to give the answer in interview on the topic of ETL in detail, ETL on detail. So basically, what is the stand for ETL? ETL is a stand for the extract, transfer, and load of the data that contain in the different data warehouses to the one consolidated data warehouse or the data lakes. So let's start discussion on the concepts of data warehouse and the business in the ETL. So let's move on first topic, that is what is the ETL. So basically ETL is stand for the extract of data from different data sources and transform our data to understand and to clean data to and then load that data to the destination data sources. So they in the there are the data warehouses or the data sources at different tables or the columns in that table or the different field. So we need to complete extract this data and apply some logic, some filter logic or the extraction logic, and then that data load into the another destination data sources where to match that key or the column or the fields of that column to load that data warehouse. So let's start the discussion on more in the ETL. So basically ETL is a process that consolidated data from multiple sources into the single sources. So we store that data at a single source or the single destination from the multiple data and unify the destination and obtain the data where the data lakes and the data warehouses. So store in that data in the unified sources. The process it is, and the process or the purpose of the ETL is to make the data accessible, consistency, and ready for analysis and the reporting and to visualization of that data. So there will be the extraction will happen at the staging area and the transfer and the load into the data warehouse and transform, and then the analyticals or the visualization of data we can see and the management can see. So let's start a discussion on the phase wise. So the extract, the phase E, we also call it as a E phase or the extract. So what is the definition of extract phase? It is and the process of gathering the data from various systems or the various data sources. So it is a process or it is a technique to collect the data or to extract the data from the different the data sources. And the key activities done in the extract phase is the identify and the required data. What are the data we need to require to analytical or the visualization or the business objective or the as per the business goal, and reading the data from sources like API, flat files on the integrations to reading that data, understand these data and capture the changes in the data like a full incremental way or the full extraction. So basically incremental means there are the n number of data. If the customer data in the data core banking system or the customer data warehouse, so if we select the incremental way, so the system will only pick up the new customers in that the data warehouse or the amendment customer whose data is get updated and and do the extraction on this. But if we do the full extraction, so system will delete the existing data in the source, the destination, and extract all the data from the source and load this data to the destination in all the data in the full extraction. So the sources of the data in the E phase like operational databases like MySQL, PostgreSQL, and the Oracle, SAS application, Salesforce, HubSpot. And we also upload the fat files like the CSV, TXT, JSON, XML. These are the fat files we are extracting from the source data, and to upload these, to apply these the transformation logic on that data and upload these to the destination data warehouse. And then the streaming the data like a Kafka, ITO sensors. So let's move on the next slide. That is a transformation, the T phase, which with the transform, which we also called as a T phase. So the definition of the transform is the process of cleaning and standardizing and aggregating the data. So whatever data we are extracted, so we don't directly extract and directly load the data. We need to apply some logics or to do the cleaning on that data. We make a standardized data and aggregate the data, or to prepare some new insights from that data and upload that data into the data warehouse. So the key activities is contained in the transform or the key phase, like cleaning, standardizing, joining, aggregating, and enriching. So cleaning, basically in cleaning phase, we will do handling the missing values or removing the duplicate value or corresponding errors, and correcting the errors if there has any error. And we also do the aggregation of or the group by clause we use if it is at the mutual fund organization. Okay, and there are the different purchase order placed by the customer. Suppose five, so we will consolidate it that five and group by that five, and we will display the single amount in the same portfolio and the same scheme. So that is to happen in the cleaning phase. And then the standardizing, so formatting the data consistency, data format, and conversion, and the joining, combining the data from different sources based on common key. So there is the customer data warehouse, the transaction data warehouse, or the order data warehouse, or the product data warehouse. So different where we are storing data. So collecting this data from one of the common key and join these all this data in a single table, and then upload or then transform or load that data in the data lake or the data warehouse. So let's aggregating. So summarizing the data, calculating the total and the average. I already tell you these things. So aggregating, to do that analysis or mathematical logic in the aggregating. And enrichment, adding a new calculated data to provide the more contents, or add new fields or new columns on the basis of the data and we require. So that's is things we done in the transform or the key phase. So let's move on the most and last phase is a load, the load phase. So L is, we also call it as a L phase. So definition, the process of writing the transform data into the target system or the destination system, and it is at the last stage of ETL. So the key activities we done in the load phase is connecting the target data warehouse to the data or the data, like we collect whatever data we are extract or transform. So so make the connection to transform that data with the data lake or the data warehouse, and inserting the data into the correct table and the partitions we make, whatever the destination table and the fields we extract, import that data or upload or load that data in the correct table and the correct column and the correct site. So it may be the incremental way or the full extraction way. And then do the loading types. So full load or the incremental load. So basically full load means inserting all data obtained from the initial load. So, and the incremental load only inserting new and changed data since the last load. So that's the two types. These are the only two types in the loadings: the full load and the incremental load. So let's discuss on the next and the important things. Why ETL is important? Why there is a ETL exist? Guys, you should know and you should answer this to the interviewer. So data consistency is one of the thing. Improve the quality, faster analysis, and inform the decision making. So let's discuss stage by stage. So data consistency, creating a single source of truth for your business data. So we need to create the business data where we data with to analyze or visualization. So we have the single source of data. So that's why we to improve the data consistency and apply the ETL logics, and so improve the quality. So data is clean and validate, loading to more reliable insights and create the meaningful insights. And in the ETL phase will improve the data quality or the data efficiency and data optimization and the faster analysis. So so from ETL we to whatever data we need to visualize or to show some meaningful graphs. So that's why we take that data from the single sources. So efficiency or the faster analysis will we do, and we have the accurate data and updated data to analyze and assess the query data for centralized location without needing to connecting the multiple system or the multiple servers or the multiple data sources. and improve the decision making, so providing a necessary data for a single for a business intelligence and the reporting, and that will help to the business intelligence to take a better decision. So let's move on the common tools, ETL tools. So what are common tools are in the industry or are in the market for the ETL? So there are the two types of the tools. One is a commercial tool and the open sources of the tool. So if you want to practice ETL, how it will work, so you can use the open sources tool. So commercial tool in the Informatica Power Center is one of the things, and the Talent and the Microsoft SQL Server Integration Services, though SSIS we call them. This is an the ETL tool, and the open sources tool like Apache, Nifi, Airflow, or then the Panel data integration. These are the tools are there in the market. So let's to differentiate between the what is the different what is the versus of ETL versus the ELT. So there are the two different things. So let's discuss one by one. So the transformation location, the ETL, which we stand for the extract, transformation, and the load or staging server before the loading of the data or before doing that. And the ELT, so extract, load. First we'll extract the data, then load the data, and then transform the data. It is in the time consuming ELT. So in the target data warehouses, so it is done by the target data warehouses. We directly target the data warehouse, and the data types for the ETL is a structured data, and the data type for the ELT is a structured, semi-structured, or the unstructured data. Whatever type of data that will sufficient for the ELT, and the time to load longer due to transformation step and the further, and it is and the faster data to loaded and the raw. So the processing power rely on the ETL server, how the the what the ETL server you consume or you purchase, on that depend. But the leverage the target data and the warehouse power, so that's the processing power will increase. And the best for on premises system or the smaller databases, if is the databases is smaller or the on premises. And the ELT, the extract and load, is good for the cloud data warehouses and the big data. So ELT we use a big data sources. So let's move on the next slide. That is the best practices for ETL development. So what are the best practices that in the market or the organizations or the company use in the today? So that's the start with the clear goal. Correct. You should have defined the business problem you are trying to solve, or what are the chart, or what are the you are drawing, or what you want to visualize, what you are to showing. So you should have clear understanding of the business problem or the what the solution you have, and what are the in scope and out scope functionality, and what goal you want to achieve from ETL system. And then the profile your data. So understand the data sources and the quality before you begin. So understand from where you are collecting data, from which table you are consuming data, and what columns you are collecting in data. In the transformation, how you come aggregate, or how you joining the each data, what the common keys you are using, and how you are loading the data. And then automated everything. So use the tools to schedule and monitor your ETL job. So there is a separate job in the ETL, so that will monitor and do one thing. If you are not implementing ETL, and it is and the time consuming or require the more resources and to do the everyday analysis. But if you fix the ETL, so system will do automatically to extract, transform, and load the data, and it save the manual effort. So it's and the important. And then implement the error handling, have a plan for dealing with the data load and the failures. And if there is a failure, so improvement, and it will increase the efficiency. And then the document your processes, so keep detailed record of your ETL pipeline, and you have the history or the audit trail of your each data transformation. And the when you will transform the data, time, duration, and it is an incremental way, or the full data load or the data transform done by you. So the document and process, and how that process, what are the columns, what are the tables you are consuming to the extract field, and how the logic you are applying in the the transform field, and transform page or the T phase, and how you logic you are implementing in the load phase or the L phase. So that should be in detailed documentation is this process. So then last slide is a conclusion. What we learn, ETL is a fundamental process for effective data management and data analysis and visualization. So that's the most appropriate way and the optimum way, and it ensures the data is a clean, consistent, ready for across the organization and usable and understandable. So choosing the right approach, it is an ETL versus the ELT, depends on your specific need and the requirement. So you can choose the right things for the ETLs. So that's the thing. And last one is the if you have any questions related to the ETL, and if you need to gain more understanding how to do the testing, how the business analyst will prepare the ETL BRD or the functional requirement document. Guys, before starting with the ETL, you should understand that what are the sources of the system where I am collecting the data, and what are the tables names, and what are the fields in that table I am collecting, and what are the transformation logic given by the business, or what are the optimum transformation logic I am applying to both the ETLs, and what are the where I am going to store that data, what is the data warehouse or the data lake, and what are the column I am interacting, and what fields or what tables I am interacting. So you should think on that point and start working on ETL to doing the testing or the development, or to BRD, FSD, all these documents. So on that way you should think. So if you like my this video, and if you find it interested, please do like and subscribe my channel, so that will motivate me to create more videos for you on a such topic. So thank you so much.